sleep is really different from wakefulness, and in fact can't be replaced by any state of wakefulness that we've been able to come up with so far. Non-REM and REM are the two major states of sleep, and every animal we've studied so far seems to have both of those states. When we go to sleep, say 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, our first REM sleep period comes about 105 minutes after we fall asleep and lasts about 20 minutes. Actually, it comes about 95 minutes.
What is a perfect night's sleep?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. All right, so sleep is really different from wakefulness, and in fact can't be replaced by any state of wakefulness that we've been able to come up with so far. Our brain chemistry is completely different, and in the different stages of sleep, which is non-REM and REM are the two major states of sleep, and every animal we've studied so far seems to have both of those states. Even within non-REM, there are three states. Stage one, which is what you slip into when you're first falling asleep. It's dozing. There's kind of an interesting rhythm that goes on in the brain. It's kind of a fast gamma rhythm. And then there's stage two, which is a really cool state. We sort of used to ignore sleep researchers because it was a transient state between wakefulness and the deep stage 3 slow wave sleep, which is the most impressively different. And then the deep slow wave sleep state, which is when big slow waves sweep through our brain. And now we realize that it cleans our brain. When we go to sleep, say 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, our first REM sleep period comes about 105 minutes after we fall asleep and lasts about 20 minutes. Actually, it comes about 95 minutes. There was a really great study that put people in a semi-darkened room with nothing but the bed for 12 hours every day for a month. And what people did initially is because we're in a sleep-deprived nation, is that they slept a lot more than usual, like 10 or 11 hours of the 12. And then they leveled off after a week or two to about 8 hours and 15 minutes of sleep.
What is unique, perhaps, about the architecture of dreams and sleep in the, let's say, the last third of the night or the second half of the night?
Right, yeah. In the second half of the night, you have longer REM sleep periods, and those are considered the deepest sleep, even though slow wave sleep, big slow wave is considered deep. It is deep.
Yeah, they call slow wave sleep deep sleep and REM sleep rapid eye movement, but now you're telling me that REM sleep is actually the deeper sleep? Okay.
The reason why you call slow wave sleep deep sleep is because it's difficult to arouse people out of that state. And when you do arouse them out of that state, they're most often confused and just want to go back into sleep and can go back pretty easily. If you give someone a non-threatening kind of stimulation, like somebody dropping keys or a ping or something like that, instead of waking, that same volume will wake someone up out of non-REM sleep. One of the reasons why REM sleep is deeper is, especially in adults and older people, that deep slow wave sleep goes away. So it's not as deep, it's not as big, the slow waves aren't as large, which is probably problematic, but we're not sure. And so then REM sleep becomes the deepest stage. Actually, in children, it's kind of a toss-up because it's really hard to wake them up out of that deep slow wave sleep.
I don't know that I want children to start waking up from sleep, because that's one of the best things when you get home and the kids are asleep in the back seat. You can literally throw them over your shoulder, gently, of course, and put them to sleep, and they are completely out. I've talked a lot before on this podcast about things like yoga nidra, which is a non-movement based practice, sometimes called non-sleep deep rest, where people actually take some time each day to practice how to go into a more parasympathetic, aka relaxed state, because it's a bit of a strill. Yeah, it's and there's some good data, really, mostly out of a laboratory in Scandinavia, showing huge increases in nigrostriatal dopamine when people go basically engage in a practice of deliberate non-movement, and that the brain actually enters states of a very shallow sleep. It teaches people to relax, which is something that most people are not very good at. But in any event, this practice, as a zero-cost practice that doesn't require any pharmacology, does seem to really enhance people's ability to fall asleep more quickly and to fall back asleep if they wake up in the middle of the night. I'd love for you to tell us about some of the work that you're doing more recently on the relationship between sleep and opiate. What is the role of sleep in addiction and recovery from addiction, and opiates in particular?
Yeah, well, this is a very young area. And in fact, my laboratory has just started. I have a graduate student who's been in my lab for just 1 year. She's done amazing work already, but completely groundbreaking work. When animals withdraw from opiates, and this has been sort of replicated in other ways with other types of things, our sleep is disturbed. Our sleep is terribly disturbed, and the amount of sleep disturbance predicts relapse behaviors. And you might think, well, of course, you're going to relapse if you can't sleep because opiates calm you down. Well, one of the reasons why opiates calm you down is because the locus coeruleus, again, the blue spot, is covered with opiate receptors. What happens when we're pleased, for example, or laughing or whatever, our endogenous opiates activate those receptors in the locus coeruleus and calm it down. It actually suppresses locus coeruleus activity, makes us happy and relaxed. One of the reasons why opiates are so addictive is because it also calms us down and makes us relaxed.